I'm Salad and I saw RRR or It is directed by SS Rajamole. This was requested by a Patreon. If you'd like to fast track a movie review request, you can do that at patreon.com/ASCpresents. If you haven't seen this, I will spoil it for you. It came out in 2022. So you might have not seen this. The movie starts, we're seeing a child get kidnapped from a village. It's really sad because it's like, oh man, the British suck. Immediately, I'm like, I hate British people. Because the British people in this movie are very vicious. They're like, don't waste a bullet on like Indian people. And it's like, oh. I like the opening sequence. We first are seeing fire, which is this one guy. He's just jumping over a barbed wire fence and it's just beating up a bunch of dudes. Like a bunch of dudes in this big old group, and within the big old group you can still see him because he's the only one not wearing some sort of headgear, and he's like struggling. There's even like a sense of claustrophobia, and it's shot like from below while there's a bunch of people above him, and like the music is like, oh my goodness, this is very claustrophobic. Will this dude make it? And yes, he does. He's just incredibly resilient. He's just like, I'm gonna get shit. I'm over to get this one guy out of the rest of this mob and bring it back to my British leader. His name is Scott. What a name. He's brought back. He's like, all right, I almost got you. And then he escapes through the crowd, and so he has to go chase him. There's a whole chase and like, oh, wow, this dude is within so many people because he is alone at first, and then there's like a big, like, seems to be an event going on, and so he's lost within the crowd. And so this dude's name is Raja. Yeah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's really cool. He's looking on top of this like bridge thing. He's looking for who might be here. I'm looking. I don't see the guy. Also, that guy passes by the next person we're also following. He's water. His introduction is really cool. It first starts like upside down and then like twists, and it's like, oh, we were like first up, like right side up on the reflection, but if the water is the true up, is the air below the reflection. But anyway, there's a big old spitty spin, and then he's like really cool, okay? His sister is the one who got kidnapped, and now he's trying to retrieve the sister, and I'm like, oh man, I really want to root for him. I want to root for the entire downfall of this British Empire. They're just like big, so abusive and like terrible people. I don't like it at all. And so I'm rooting for, this dude's name is Bheem. It's spelt B-H-E-E-M. He's like a beam of water. Beams of water don't exist. Bheem is right next to this guy who Raja is chasing, and they kind of are next to each other now. It's really cool seeing that Bheem is like, all right, well, you're getting chased by whom? You're being chased by the cops? Oh, wow. I can't believe it. Why? There's a kid who's on this floaty thing in the water, and on this bridge, there is this train track full of oil, and the oil is leaking, and the tracks produce sparks, and the oil catches on fire, and then the train does a little flip, does a little dive, cart first into the waters below, and then there's a bunch of fire and water, and the kid is kind of trapped. I'm feeling sorry for this kid. I'm like, oh boy, I hope this kid is saved, because if these two guys weren't here, this kid would have been dead. And so it made me think, oh boy, what about the rest of the people who are murdered, death, killed, and not saved? I feel bad for them. There's a really cool maneuver trick. We have Bheem, Raja, they kind of tie themselves to a rope. By kinda, I mean they literally tie themselves to a rope. They get on a horseback motorcycle, they do a vroom, vroom, and then they jump off the bridge. They have enough acceleration, and then when they jump off the bridge, they can like swing from side to side. You got one who has a flag, takes the flag through the water. I found this to be cool, and then wraps himself with that wet flag to not get burnt by the fires. And I found this to be really cool. The kid is saved, and I found this to be very nice. I liked that moment. I was like, oh wow, these two dudes are now friends, they're homies, okay? They gain more of a brothership, a friendship. At some point, I believe Bheem calls Raja a brother at some point, so they get a pretty deep connection to each other. Raja has loyalties to the British, and you got the British being like, hey, we got this guy. He kind of, you know what he did at my birthday party with a bunch of fireworks? And my being Scott, this is Scott's event. This dude, he comes in, right? Kind of even plans for like to just barge in through all these entrances, because there's like two sets of doors. The other set of door, the last set of doors was open, and so they timed it out right, and then bam, they barreled through. They nearly missed a bunch of people, but then they have a bunch of cages on the back of their truck, and they let a bunch of animals loose. And I like the animals, okay? CG animals. There were some times where I noticed some of like the slow motion parts of CG animals were a little bit clunky, but I say clunky in it just looked like that visually, but it wasn't like weirdly shaking, which is good. It was very smooth. So I've never animated a tiger, so I still give props to the CG team. It looks pretty good still. I just noticed that it was CG. You got tigers attacking people, bears attacking people, especially the guards, the British guards. I'm like, yes, yeah, you do that. But Bheem gets surrounded, he gets caught, and it's unfortunate because now Raja has to, what is that called? It's a whip. It's a whip. And he whips him on the back in front of a bunch of people. And it's like, okay, he's not doing a bunch of damage. Bheem is able to sustain this. He's just getting whipped. Bheem ain't no pussy, okay? Bheem is an ultra Chad guy. He's like, I'm going to withstand all the pain that I can. And I don't care about no blood. Blood don't hurt, even if I lose a bunch of it. It's okay, I'll gain more blood. And it's like, Bheem, you rock. Oh man. I know you're water element representative, but you know, you still are really cool, and I like you so much. It makes me sad when you are tortured in front of a bunch of people, when you're tortured by British guards. I am, you know, sad looking on it, but it's your decision, and your decision, Bheem. And I still really admire you. Just the resilience to just keep getting hit by guards and still stand while at that whipping that Raja has to do. Raja has to make sure that he goes on his knees, and Bheem refuses to go on his knees. I think it's the Scott's wife that's like, I want to see blood. I'm like, dude, or ma'am rather, you're so vicious. Man, just seeing somebody get like cut up makes me like, I don't want to see that. Stop it. Stop with the pain. Oh, but this woman, women are the root of all evil. Yet again, another movie proves this point. She's like, yeah, I want to see blood. I want to see skin tearing through. And Raja has to whip Bheem with this. And it's painful to watch, but Bheem is really resilient. Did I tell you why he broke into Scott's place in the first place? Well, it's because his little sister was there. It's really nice to see, oh, well, I want to hug you. I want to hug you, little sister. But, you know, they're bars. She's being locked up like a prisoner. I don't like this at all. It's really sad that Bheem can't just take his sister back home because, you know, the surrounding context. It would cause a lot of rigmarole, and there's a lot of soldiers, and she would be killed first. Of course, when Bheem is, you know, refusing to kneel down, now we have plans to execute Bheem, and Raja actually suggests to do it like away from people, so he's not like a shrine to people. And I'm like, okay, Raja, I know that you're friends with this guy, and being in this position is very tough for you. But I also see that you have yourself a little plan, and I'm intrigued to see what it is. And here's the plan, right? We have, he's gonna go in a separate car ahead, go vroom, and then he hits a rope, which catches a tree to go on the side. He also makes sure all the guns don't work. I think he like unscrews some guns, and so they don't fire well or don't load at all, actually. And of course, all these soldiers are now just down for the count. Also, Raja, why is he just suddenly turning on all these police officers? Well, he's shown to actually be part of this tribe who was overrun with British soldiers, and he was given a rifle training by his relative, his father or uncle. I missed the relationship there. Someone really close to him. He's teaching him how to fire a gun. He shot a rifle. It kind of injured his shoulder when he was. This is a flashback. I like this flashback how it's told. He's injured his shoulder. He has a rifle. When he's doing rifle practices, his I'd say instructor, because he's instructing a large group of people to learn on these what seems to be just fake rifles. They kind of look like color guard rifles is the only reference that I have for them. But instead of it just being like a solid piece of like plastic or whatever material it's made of, it also has the loading mechanism too. So the kickback, if all of these people are given guns, wouldn't know how to technically use a gun, but the kickback, I don't know if they would be able to withstand that. And so I don't know if this is the most effective way to teach people how to defeat the British, by teaching them how to use a gun if there aren't any guns to use. Maybe there are more, I don't know, there would be more efforts towards like booby trapping, but I don't know the time period that well of that region in India, so I'm kind of out of my depth. I just find it funny that there's only one gun, and that young Raja takes the gun and he gets a bullseye from a very long distance. And so when it comes to the instructor, he's single-handedly defeating some of the British guards that are closing in. But some British guards go up ahead, meaning up ahead in elevation. They get into some trees. And I like how they shoot like on top, and they actually get him, which is really sad. They even get his finger. I'm like, oh goodness, this is really tragic. But Raja, being smaller, having better cover, is able to fight against a bunch of British guards, British officers. And I like how the British are like, oh my goodness, we have to retreat. He dedicates himself to being in the military so he can bring back a bunch of guns for his village, and I like this a lot. So that's why Raja is like, okay, I'm going to betray British officers. Bheem successfully escapes with his sister, but Raja is kind of kept in captivity. He's scheduled to being hung in a couple of days. So Bheem is in hiding, meets Raja's chick. What's the relationship? Girlfriend? Yeah, girlfriend's probably a proper term. Meets the other half of a necklace that Raja has. It's like, oh, okay, so you're very close to Raja. Tells the Bheem the story. Bheem is like crying, oh no, I was actually going to betray Raja because he led me to be hung until he saved me and my sister. Now I feel really bad. And now I have to go get Raja, and that's what happens. He's now gonna go get Raja. Raja is in this solitary confinement ring. It's more of a cube, kind of, actually. The closest thing I can describe it to is a 2-meter pit with stone on all sides except for the top, which is grated by a couple of metal bars. It's really cool. Raja just keeps on doing pull-ups. And we have Bheem does a bunch of squats. Their ultimate tag team for escaping this part is once Raja is back out of this hole, his legs are bad. His legs are no good. He kind of, you know what he kind of does? No, he definitely goes onto Bheem's shoulders. And they kind of make this, like this, what is to be maybe is a weird human insect. It's the best way I can describe it. They're even climbing within configuration on the side of a metal, and I found this to be very hilarious. I was like, whoa, this is insane, wow. This movie goes hard. Did I tell you that this movie goes really hard? They escape, and Bheem goes back to his village with the sister, and the sister gets to see her mother, and it's brilliant. I'm like, my heartstrings, they're warmed up. And Raja and Bheem are now friends, and the movie ends on a really long dance sequence. Man, the dance sequence, I was like, okay, I know a lot of people like dancing. TikTok dances are all the craze. And this movie has a lot of dancing and a lot of singing. It's really good. It's really, really good. I just can see how this movie can be so popular by the amount of people, I imagine, trying to replicate the dances and sing the songs in the movies. Cause man, there's so many bangers. There's even this one banger. I was reading the subtitles. It translates to dance. I think it's like Nacho. I think that's the title. But it's really cool, okay? That is a banger, okay? Also, this banger hit was in the context of a wedding, an English wedding, that these Bheem and Raja having a bonding relationship. This is what even strengthens the relationship. They're just like full on dancing. They're having a dance competition. A bunch of people are dancing. As somebody who's been to one Indian wedding, because my older sister is married to an Indian man, wow, they go hard, okay? Man, they go hard. Oh man. First of all, it's just like dancing for 4 hours straight, and the music is awesome, and it's such a vibe. It's like, oh yeah, let's go. It's just a party. The food is really good, by the way. The food that my sister had was like some butter curry chicken. That's the only thing I had. There was also some of these potato balls filled with meat and spices and stuff. There was some like yogurt dish and some nice, really spicy rice. It was really good. It was really good. It was popping. I was like, yeah, this is exactly RRR. Made me think of my sister's wedding, and I was like, ah, yeah, let's go. This is like that wedding, but like times 10. Oh my goodness, it was intense. I should also provide some timeline context. I couldn't dance for 4 hours straight. I had a thumbnail to do. I was doing a Dick Show bonus episode. Thumbnail was my first one. It was the first appearance of Riley on the show, and I left him off the thumbnail. This movie hits, okay? It hits with me, the emotional strings. We got a bunch of stakes, a bunch of British dudes just getting one-shot KO'd, and I'm like, yeah, I love this, let's go. I love just the amount of murder, death, kill of the British dudes, okay? Because they're not good at all. And they may not to be like the worst people ever, so I feel no sympathy for them. I didn't cry. This movie was pretty whiplashy when it comes to the ending beats. The ending beats were emotional, but then it ends with the dance sequence pretty quickly. And so I'm like, okay, there is a victory. I like the victory nature of it. There is a lot of overarching emotions that I felt. A lot of it was, oh, please keep going. I want to see you save your sister, Bheem. And oh boy, Raja, why are you in the military? Oh, it's because to ultimately provide the means to start a revolution. I totally get that. I like both of these guys. I'm really glad that this was suggested to me. Also, a lot of the graphics, oh man, there's so many of them. They're really good. I'd say a lot of the buildings, it seems like very clean, polished. The animals, very fun to look at. If they're straight ahead, there is a lot of tiger shots that are very done very well. Some of the slow-mo animation just seemed very clunky, but in a good way. That's a good describer, because it seems like an animal's movements would be very mechanical at that speed if you were to slow it down. Camera angles were epic. There's a lot of slow motion and a lot of like people dodging things very close, like an arrow coming very close to your face and you're barely dodging it, and the arrow goes through the middle of some dude's head or chest. Or there's this even one shot, we have Raja, she's shooting at Bheem, Bheem jumps up, but Raja was actually aiming at the soldier behind Bheem, about to shoot the chick, about to shoot the little girl. I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of emotional stakes of this movie, so I gotta give it like a solid 8 out of 10. If you liked this review, watch another one. YouTube really likes that. You can also like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. The ultimate goal of this channel is for me to become an expert movie reviewer, so if I haven't reviewed it on the channel, there's a chance I haven't even seen it at all. If you'd like to request a movie in the comments below, you can do that. You can fast track a movie review request at patreon.com/ASCpresents for $20 a month. One movie review per 1 month. $3 a month for 250 vlogs that are up there right now, plus the how to draw Pokemon tutorials will be posted there early first at patreon.com/ASCpresents. And if you'd like to help support the daily grindiness of all these daily movie reviews, you can go to this link tree. My Fansly is free to follow. It helps the daily grindiness of all these daily movie reviews, so you can go here. And until next time, I'm Mint Salad Saw. I'll see you later, my salad croutons and bacon bits.